Okay, welcome back to this tutorial. Today I would like to talk about VPC, and we want to have an overview of VPC inside an AWS console. So go ahead and log into your AWS console. I'm using a new AWS account for this one called Masoud training, and I've created a user Masoud and I've logged in with my user Masoud to this console. So it's not a root account. If I go to IAM or IAM and go back here, if you follow up the previous videos, I've already go through all of them, and I've created my customized link and my user, my group and roles, and everything is fine right now as expected as the other accounts. So I'm having multiple accounts for testing purposes. So I'm going back to AWS console, and if you scroll down in this AWS services that we have in the homepage, in the networking and content and delivery part, we have something called VPC. So I'm going to click on this one to take a look at the VPC console. At the same time, I'm going to open another tab and type AWS VPC and hit enter. So I wanted to create a PowerPoint for this lecture, but I was thinking about the AWS documentation itself, and I was taking a look at the documentation from AWS, and it seems that it's pretty good documentation. So I prefer to take a look at the website instead of just having some PowerPoints, which it's gonna be just copying and pasting these information to the PowerPoint. As you can see in this website, which is the aws.amazon.com/VPC. A VPC, it's the abbreviation of the Virtual Private Cloud, and it's a keyword in AWS that we will use it a lot. So you have to remember this. So Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, or VPC, it's actually a logical isolated section of AWS cloud. It's like a data center that you can have your resources in it. And it says you can launch your resources like your virtual, you can define your virtual network, and you have full complete control over your virtual networking environment inside a VPC. So consider VPC as a data center for you. So you can have your own IP address range, and you can create your subnet in your configuration, and you can have your route table and your network gateways, all the network resources. Let's say you have a server room or you have a data center, so you have the network switches, you have firewalls, you have a boundary, right? You have physical access to your resources. This is the same idea. Actually, you have a data center, it's a virtual one, and you can start using it, and you can start managing your resources. You can create route tables and configure security mechanism for controlling ingress and egress traffic through your data center. So as you can see here, AWS says you can easily customize the network, and you can create a public facing subnet for your web servers that has access to the internet, and place your backend systems such as database or application servers in a private subnet with no internet access. This is actually a typical form of configuring the AWS, having one subnet accessible through the internet, so internet facing, and one private subnet, and you can put your web server, let's say, in the public subnet and the database server in the private, and then you can connect the public and private inside the AWS, and the end user can hit your public subnet from the internet. So I'm going to draw you a very nice diagram related to it, but for now this is just the VPC definition, and we can have multiple security mechanisms, you can see here, and there are benefits to it, like security, it's simple, and we have scalability and reliability on the AWS. There are multiple features related to the VPC connectivity. One of them that, for example, pretty normal in the VPC use cases is you have a direct connectivity to internet from a public subnets, and you can easily launch your resources with the internet access. Another thing is that you can have network address translation, or NAT. which it's gonna hide or mask your private IP addresses when you're accessing to the internet. So the NAT technology is also working, so you can have internet access with a NAT gateway. And another mechanism, which is we are going to practice it in this course, is you can connect securely your corporate data center or your on-prem data center or network to the VPC with a VPN, with the IPsec VPN, and technically you're extending your network to the cloud easily, which is pretty useful. Another feature in the VPC is VPC peer. This one means that if you have different VPCs in one AWS accounts, or even with multiple AWS accounts, you can connect these VPCs together and expand your network through them, which is pretty useful and pretty awesome. Another features with this VPC inside AWS is that we can have private connection between the AWS services and our VPC, and we don't need to go through the internet for accessing AWS services, which is pretty useful also. And other features, like we can have the AWS private link, which is the same thing. We have connections privately to our AWS services through SaaS solutions, and we can privately connect to different accounts and organizations through the backbone of the AWS, which is pretty useful. Going back to the console, as you can see here, this is the homepage for the VPC, and on the right side, I can see the service health. If the right now I'm in the US West Oregon region, and you can see the Oregon is selected top here, and it says the service is healthy, and you can see a green check mark here. And at the moment that I'm talking to you, if I click on see all regions, so one of the interesting things related to this VPC homepage is, this is a brand new account. This is completely new. I've just created this account. If I click on the VPCs and click on see all regions, you can see they're all one in all regions. This means that by default, AWS is going to create a VPC for my account in each of these regions. So we don't need to do anything. We have a VPC currently in place in all the regions inside AWS. And I've chosen Oregon right now, and I'm in US West. So, and it seems that I have a VPC, so it's pretty good, and I can start using this one. This page is pretty useful because you can see by default in AWS accounts, when you're creating an AWS account, you have some resources by default, like you have a VPC in each regions. Another one is if I go to a subnet and I open this one, you can see that there are some subnets by default in each region, right? So right now in Oregon, there are 3 subnets, so which is pretty good. So by default right now, we know that we have VPC, we have a bunch of subnets. Route table, if I click on this one, for each region, we also have one route table. We have one-to-one mapping between route tables and VPCs then. And if I go down to network access lists, if I open this one, also you can see we have one network access list in each region, same idea. So we have VPC by default, we have subnets for VPCs, and we have route tables for each VPC in each region, and we have network access lists for them. And another one is security group. By default, we have one security group for each region, which is pretty useful. It means that we can start working on our AWS. You don't need to create anything actually. In this lecture today, I'm not going to do anything in this dashboard. I'm just showing you that we have everything in place by default, and we can start using the default AWS account and AWS resources to go through the compute and start spinning up our virtual machines or instances. But later I will come back to this dashboard and start creating manual VPCs, manual subnets, route table, and other stuff to create a customized subnet for ourselves. Anyway, so if I go to the VPC, if I click here on my VPC, you can see I'm now in your VPC's page, and I have one VPC right now. You can see the ID, the state is available, and the IP address side there is 172.100/16, and I have the ACP option set, and I have assigned one route table to this VPC and also one network access list to this one. The tenancy is default, and this is a default VPC. So even you can click here and you can give it a name. You can say this is a default VPC in order to, it's easier later. We can easily find this one, although there's a default VPC here, but if you change this one to the default VPC, that would be better. If I click on the subnets on the left side, now I can see the subnets. It's the same idea. If you go back to the VPC dashboard here, if you click on the subnets here, you will go to this page. And as you can see in the Oregon, which is the US West 2, I have 3 subnets. Right now I have one VPC, which is a small data center virtual data center inside the AWS, and in this VPC I have 3 subnets by default, and these are the subnet IDs, and you can see the side ranges and the available IP addresses in US West 2A, C, and B. These are the availability zones. So as you can see here, for each availability zone I have a separate subnet. They're having their own route table, which is the same thing. It's the same route table. We have the network access list. Again, it's the same network access list for all of them, and default subnet and auto assigned public IP addresses yes, and auto assigned IPv6 addresses no. So as you can see here, for each availability zone we have a separate subnet, but we can have a route table for all of the availability zones and subnets, and we can have a network access list for all of them. So this shows that route table and network access lists are separate from the subnets and availability zones, and these are resources that you are creating above the subnets and above the availability zones. I'll show you in a couple of minutes, but this is the console that you can select. I'm going to change these names also to default. That would be better for us. Default subnet, and I put the US West. This one is 2A. I'm going to copy this one and paste it here in US West 2C, and this one also here in 2B. So now I know that these are the default. Although you can easily figure out, but I would like to give them a name, a proper name, so it's easier for me to understand. So this one was the part 1 for the VPC overview, and I'll see you in the next one.